Growing up, my favorite way to learn about paranormal stories was by my father reading to me or going and listening to people share their stories. So that later when I became a teenager, one of my most hyper-focused things was researching areas' history and their haunted stories. And so then when I had the opportunity to travel all over the United States, I made a point, if I could, to go join either like the standard tour or the haunted tour, or there was a few times I was able to join a paranormal group. My favorite thing afterwards, everybody would sit around and share their experiences, or memories would come up from times before, or maybe stories that were told to them from other people that had been in the area. And so I thought it'd be kind of fun, since I have been doing this off and on throughout my life, that I would create a little playlist and kind of share my stories. So I'm doing this in the vein of the way things were once upon a time, where it wasn't so much about proving it and documenting it. It's for the sheer joy of sharing the story. So as we are approaching the end of October and Samhain or Halloween or whatever word you want to call it, I thought this was the perfect time of the year to start this little playlist, and I would probably add to it throughout the year whenever I'm inspired to share one of my stories, but I thought that I would share at least a couple a week as we are leading up to the end of the month. So here we go. Today's share only happened about a week ago. So as I've been pretty open, I live currently in central Minnesota, and the area has a lot of paranormal activity, cryptids, and a huge pagan community. But we're all kind of quiet and we kind of stick to ourselves. And so hearing about a new development was really exciting for me. So up in Brainerd, there is now a Minnesota Haunted Museum. And we were so excited about this opening that we took the day off as a vacation day and decided to go up there for the grand opening. So the moment that I walked into the haunted area, I immediately felt the presence of a female in the back corner, way in the back. And it was so dark, like my eyes had to adjust. I was like standing there at the door like, okay, what am I feeling? What are my senses? Like, what am I walking into? Because it's totally dark. And we, my partner and I, we kind of stood there for a moment, our eyes adjusted, we're kind of using the flashlights to look around, and everything's kind of set up in sections. And so we started going through the sections. There's a mirror section. There was a section that looked like a lot of old spell boxes. There wasn't a lot of placards there. And then there's some old relics and various things. And then I finally got to the back corner. And the very back corner, of course, is the collection of dolls. I don't know what it is about dolls, but they have always creeped me out. I was never a kid that had any dolls. I didn't want them. And today, like, I have my stuffed animals, I will say. I have a gigantic unicorn that is kind of a pillow. But dolls have never been my favorite thing. And I don't know. I assume that the reason that dolls are so haunted is that most of us humans have a thing with, like, these dolls. So I go in this back corner and there are dolls lining, if I remember correctly, 3 walls of dolls. And some of them just look creepy. Some of them feel a little off. And one in particular on a table that was kind of on the far side wall, like to the far left. One of the dolls in particular felt like it was staring right back at me. And it had kind of a Victorian dress, kind of the curls and all that kind of stuff. But it had like an adult face. I don't know. I don't know if it just creeped me out because it looked so different. It stood out so much from the other ones, but I felt like I didn't want to go anywhere near it, like it was gonna move. And so I was just kind of like, okay, the dolls. And then we moved on and explored some other things. There's an axe that really creeped me out, and then some other chest and like a lot of just like old things that I don't want to say too much because I would like people, if they're in the area, to go explore the Minnesota Haunted Museum. But we ended up going back up to the front, and as people who love the paranormal do, we started talking, and we were hanging out talking for probably an hour or so. You know, people were coming and going and just kind of interacting with folks. And then we decided to go to the back and choose my location. So the reason that the only half of the museum had moved in at the grand opening was because in a couple weeks they are going to be having a ParaCon, and it's going to be the first one. It's UpNorth ParaCon. So if you live in Minnesota, like, come up and check us out. I will actually be there with my booth. There's a whole bunch of people, and I'll leave some links in the description below if you are watching or listening to this video before November 7th and 9th. It's a 2-day event. So they're going to have the UpNorth ParaCon, and we went into the back describing some of the things that are going to be coming in, which I'm really excited about. And then we were walking around, and I had a shiny moment. I had no idea what was going on, but I just suddenly walked back to the dolls again. And we all kind of joked about it. And so I'm standing back there looking at these dolls, and I'm like, wait a minute. Did that doll move? So the doll that was directly in front of the adult looking doll was completely moved over to where I couldn't see the adult looking doll anymore. And I was standing there looking at it for a few moments before I said anything. Like, the whole corner of the table was clear, and all of these dolls were spaced out like beautifully on this table, to the point that there was no like free space on the table, if you know what I mean. And I'm like, well, there was a couple people that had walked in before. Maybe they were handling things. Maybe they touched the dolls and were moving them around or something. And we both walked over and were looking at them. And I was saying how this one particular doll, this one doll behind her was the one that kind of grabbed my attention. And then we walked away from the dolls. We had our backs to the dolls, and we were talking about the other things that are in the space. And I turned around and I was like, wait a minute, the doll moved again. He had moved it so it was kind of angled on, and I couldn't say the word angled at the moment, but it was angled on the table facing this little hallway that was leading back to the doll space. And I'm looking at it, and he's looking at it, and we're both like, yeah. And he's like, you could tell, like, we were both kind of going, okay, do we remember what we remember? And the doll was now facing forward, and it looked like it had moved again. And I'm thinking, okay, you know, of course there's no cameras on it. Of course no one saw it, but that was like a significant move. And in my experience, normally like things that move are like small, but this was like it completely turned. And so we walked over there, we put it back in place, or he did, I didn't want to touch it. And we're still looking at the dolls, and I'm like, okay, dolls, like, we're good, just don't jump out at me and freak me out. And then we went and I chose my space for the ParaCon, and we went up to the front and started chatting some more and letting some more guests come in. If that is like a window into what is to come for this haunted museum, I'm super excited to be going back there, to meeting some other paranormal people in the area. Like, this feels like it's going to be a really cool, popular place for people who are interested in the paranormal. Or if you're curious about it, come and check out like some haunted places. So anyways, as I said, I just wanted to share it. It just happened recently, so it's very fresh in my mind, and I'm really excited about it, and especially that I'll be doing the ParaCon, and there's a lot of people from all of the area that are going to be coming up and doing the UpNorth ParaCon. So yeah, so I guess this one's a little bit of a share and kind of a promotion and talking up a new local business. So yeah, so okay, very simple video. At the end of this one, I should say I meant to post this on Halloween, and I fell and injured my elbow and had no use of my right hand for about a week, which is why I had to take a pause with my videos. So there's always something. But I'm on the mend, and I'm getting back up with posting these videos. Sorry that it's now a couple days late. I didn't get it up there for Halloween. But yeah, so here it is. Hopefully everyone did have a beautiful Halloween, that you got lots of candy or got lots of candle magic going. that you had an amazing time with your ancestors, or whatever it is, and however you celebrate that particular holiday. So thanks for hanging out with me and giving me a few moments of your time. Hope you're having a beautiful day or night wherever you are, and as always, happy witching.